Hi, welcome back to Sun on Sports. I'm Mike Shaughnessy. I'm joined this week from my left, Greg Clevin, John Sherman, and Nick Clark. And behind the camera is our trustworthy camera operator slash producer slash director, Greg Huff, who's especially bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. Our first segment is going to be about some of the outstanding athletes and performances we saw during the spring, particularly during the state tournament season that just concluded. Greg, on the subject of happenings that were no real surprise, Eden Prairie once again won the state girls lacrosse championship. Their championship game was fairly close. Blake gave them a battle, but it was another state title for the Eagles.
Yeah, it was I believe 10-7, and Eden Prairie actually trailed at half. This is one of the first times any team's even been close to them all year. They suffered one loss, and that was in the to a trip to Chicago, and they lost to I think it was Loyola Academy of just outside of Chicago, and they ended up as the Illinois state champion, and that was a one-goal game, 14-13 and stuff. Eden Prairie was loaded. Co-head coach Beth Patterson told me that this was the best of the 5 state championship Eden Prairie teams. Perhaps had they did have the outstanding player of the year, Kaz Marie Norwich, daughter of Craig Norwich, former hockey standout in college, and he played some pros too. But anyhow, Kaz set a single game scoring record in the semifinals, 12 points, 7 goals and 5 assists. She has just dominated this sport, like the Sidney Crosby of girls lacrosse. But they had also a lot of other tremendous athletes, 3 sport athletes, Taylor Ewell, Michaela Clark, just an outstanding team. They were so dominant in the section, I think they outscored their opponents 53-10. So that's just 3 games.
Right.
So they just had an outstanding spring again.
We had Minnetonka and Eastview playing each other in the State High School League Boys Championship game. Minnetonka completed an undefeated season with a 10-8 victory. It was Eastview's 3rd year in a row in the state tournament. They're the only team that has been in the state tournament every year since the high school league started sponsoring one. But I attended the game. Minnetonka got a lead early. Eden Prairie kept getting back into it, but never quite was able to catch up. And part of that was because Minnetonka looks to me like they have some phenomenal offensive talent on their team.
Minnetonka has some great athletes, Mike, and again, multi-sport athletes, hockey players, football players, soccer players, just a lot of guys who can shoot the ball, and they play really good defense too. They've got Bo Allen out there, who's a 6'4", 288-pound defensive lineman who's being recruited by every Division I school around here, and you know, that's an advantage when you've got a player that big that you can station in front of the net. As far as the lacrosse, it's interesting because in the boys division we have a club championship and a high school league championship. I happened to see the club championship contest last week, and it was very exciting. Orono defeated St. Louis Park 8-7. Just a great match, and that match was good for lacrosse, and hopefully Park and Orono will be joining the high school league, so we won't have to debate whether Orono or Minnetonka has the better team for at least much longer.
As you pointed out, defensive linemen and defensive positions in lacrosse seem to be a pretty good fit, because probably playing his last lacrosse game would have been Eastview's Matt Guerin, who's going to be at the U of M next fall, possibly redshirting, or possibly getting some situational pass rushing roles. But at any rate, he's another defensive lineman who adapted very well to guarding the net in lacrosse. Well, guys, thanks a lot. We'll be back with another segment of Sun on Sports in just a minute.